Hello and welcome to another episode of the Organic Beehive. Today I'm going to be talking about 4 easy steps that you can take to start homeschooling your child today. So before I get started, I just wanted to preface everything by saying I know that I do not have any makeup on. I did not do my hair. I just felt this need to come on here and be real, because I think on social media we make these assumptions of the people that we're following, and those assumptions are usually their house is always clean, they have meals from scratch for every meal. They're always dressed perfectly, they don't yell at their kids, they're the perfect mom, and none of those are true. One thing I want you to remember is you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And social media, unfortunately, I guess disguises those parts in our life because we just want to share our highlight reels. So I wanted to come on today and come as my real self. I don't even know, I think there's even tiles in the background from my daughter playing with them just before this video. But this is how I am most days. And in these videos you may see me dressed. I mean, I'm dressed, but you know, I'm comfortable in basically jeans and a t-shirt. I'll come and show up that way, and I may show up a little more dressed up, but I just thought it was important to share the realness. Also, realness, dishwasher is going, so I really hope that you guys can hear me okay. So I just wanted to start this video talking about my story with school and my husband's, and then go into kind of how homeschooling fell into our laps. My story is really quick. I went to Catholic school all my life, and my husband went through the public school system as well. Unfortunately, he has so many horror stories of how he was treated as a kid, and it really breaks my heart, and I know that he's not the only one. But here's the twist. I'm not saying that everybody goes through that, but there's so many kids in a classroom that some can fall through the crack. And I know this well because I actually, I went to school to be an elementary school teacher. I got my bachelor's in elementary education, and after graduation went on to teach for 8 years. Once we found out I was pregnant, I'm just so grateful that I was able to stay home with her. But I went through the public school system as well as taught in the public school system. And being on the other side, there were times, I remember one year, it was like my 2nd or 3rd year teaching. I was teaching kindergartners, so at that age they're very needy, needing help opening their glue and tying their shoes, and I had 30 of them. And it was really hard to get any teaching in because it was really just trying to teach rules and get into routines, and it was tough. And so I totally get how kids can fall through the cracks in the public school system, but I'm not here to talk about the difference between the two. I just want you to know that I have experience in that system as well. As I mentioned, I did not imagine that I would homeschool, because going to school was just something I knew and I didn't think to question it. We were so excited for her to go to her first day of school, and she was too. We had an open house, so she got to meet the teachers, she got to meet some of the friends, she got to see some of the activities that you get to do in preschool, and she was so excited. She loved art and painting, and that's exactly what we did at this open house. So it really hyped her up and got her to look forward to her first day of school. So first day of school went wonderful. Dropped off, she said goodbye, and the moment I left, I was actually with my husband because he wanted to see her off as well. And we thought we would take advantage of the day to ourselves, and we had a little day date, went out for breakfast and things like that. And I remember not being able to enjoy it because I just had this awful feeling in my gut. I had no reason for it. I just knew immediately that this wasn't for us. And I pushed those feelings, I did tell my husband, but I pushed those feelings aside because I didn't know how she would do the first day. I didn't want her to see me nervous and feeling this way. So I pushed it aside. We picked her up. The poor girl, she was so happy to see us. It was just a long day. It was free pre-K, so we went every single day. I think it was like 7 hours a day from 8 to 3, give or take. And that's just a long day for a 4-year-old. I pushed those feelings aside, didn't let her on to how I was doing with this transition, but I didn't have to because the next day and for the next couple weeks, it was just full on tantrums every morning, getting up, trying to get her dressed, trying to feed her, getting her in the car. She did not want to go. So of course I'm feeling the way I am. She's feeling similar, and it just broke my mama heart. And I knew that I needed to give it some time because, it's a huge adjustment. So I gave it, I want to say 3 weeks. Some moms told me it takes 6 weeks. I could not wait that long. It took me about 3 weeks of the same thing every single day. And I just decided, you know what? I think, it's preschool. I taught before. I knew I could do this. I just thought, I think I'm going to keep her another year and see if she's ready in the next year. Before I get into the 4 steps, I just wanted to give you some words of inspiration. And that is, I've already kind of hinted about social media and some of the effects it has on our self-worth as mothers. And if you follow a lot of homeschool accounts, you may fall into the comparison trap, thinking, how can I possibly do all of this? Really, the lessons that they show are so elaborate. You see the supplies that they have, they're like, all natural, from the earth paints, and I'm wondering, how do they spend all their money on this? But we have to remember that that's their job. They might have been gifted some of those things, but ultimately it's their job to teach you and to give you these ideas. But if you're on the other side, it can be really overwhelming. So if this is your first year homeschooling and you're following these accounts, you're probably feeling like, I don't know where to start. So this is going to be that foundation for you, some action steps so you feel comfortable in moving forward if you decide to homeschool this year. Just remember, this does not have to be complicated. We make it complicated because we're comparing ourselves to everybody else. But you know your child more than anyone else. So you are most fit for the job, I promise you. Tip number 1 is to look at your state's laws and requirements with homeschooling. So all you need to do, and I'm going to link the websites mentioned here in the description below, but all you need to do is go to the Homeschool Legal Defense Association website, HSLDA.com, or is it .org? I'll link it below. What my rules are going to be different from another state's. Some states, they require lots of records, maybe a visit to make sure you have everything, testing certain years, and then there are some states that make it really open for you. Number 2 is to choose your philosophy. But there is so many philosophies out there, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed by it, or even to feel like you have to be tied down to one philosophy. I think I started off with like Montessori, and then I really resonated with Waldorf, and now I'm a little more like Charlotte Mason. It's okay to change your mind, but choosing a philosophy is going to just kind of be that compass for you to figure out what you want to teach, how you want to teach it. If that sounds a little too much for you, I'm going to link a simple quiz. You could probably Google a quiz on your own, what's my homeschool philosophy, and you'll answer a few questions and they'll let you know at the end. There's eclectic homeschooling where people take bits and pieces from each philosophy, but picking a philosophy is going to be important because step number 3 is choosing your curriculum. So if you have your philosophy chosen, now you can go and figure out your curriculum. Cathy Duffy has a book called 102 Homeschool Curriculums, I believe. I would get that from your local library. But if you don't have the book or it's not available at your library, you can also check out her website. So her book does go into depth over philosophies and learning styles. She lists all the curriculums and says which philosophy it fits under, which learning style it fits under, and it just is a great little visual for you to figure out what is best for you and your child. Another great way of figuring out a curriculum is talk to other moms whose values you really appreciate and trust. So I do this a lot. I have a friend whose daughter is a year older than my girl, and I'm always saying like, hey, what did you do this year? What worked? What didn't work? Can I thumb through the curriculum? That's another great way to choose what's right for you. You can also go to your library. Oftentimes libraries will have curriculum available for you as well, and you can thumb through that. You can find reviews on blogs and YouTubes. And lastly, homeschool expos and homeschool conferences. Those are great places to go. A lot of times those companies will be there as a vendor and know the curriculum inside and out, which will be really helpful for you to not only, go through the curriculum and actually touch it, but to be able to ask questions, and those experts are going to know are going to be a super help for you. And there are free curriculums online. There's Easy Peasy, Ambleside Online. Again, Google is your friend here and it will help you out immensely if finances are an issue. I love going to Facebook Marketplace as well, maybe eBay for some used curriculums. Otherwise, if you know a friend, I've borrowed from a friend for a year and given it back. So just know that there are so many options for you out there. And then step number 4 is join the HSLDA. That is what I mentioned earlier, the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. So it's a nonprofit organization, and through their membership, you have access to a ton of homeschool resources. They can help you pinpoint a curriculum that might be right for you and your children. They also provide 24/7 call support. But what I like the most is they can provide legal help to you if you ever need to protect your rights to homeschool. So that's pretty worth it to me. It's a pretty reasonable price. So I will again link that in the description below for you to be able to check it out and see if that works for you. I hope that was helpful. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.